Yes, a very good morning to you and welcome back to Daybreak. My name is Uli Saburu Hapa hivi. Everything is looking good and we're ready to jump into the conversation. Every Tuesday we try to delve into some society matters, questions, debate, discourse, call it what you may. A little bit of a breather kidogo, alafu tuingie into the crux of the matter. Ladies first, Nonsizi.
Yes.
Is here?
Yes.
Uko sawa?
Niko salama. Yes.
Leo itabidi tutetee.
Leo nitabidi niwatetee. Mtetezi wenu.
I am enlisting you early. Ukue front line.
No problem.
On Skype we have DNG.
Good morning to you, Bwana Willis.
Good morning, uko vipi?
Niko chonjo kabisa, niko salama. Leo ukiona nimedunga t-shirt kwa hasili yako, tumekuja kubeba na kupeperusha bendera ya boychild bwana.
Muofaya. Bendera ye.
Kupeperusha hiyo.
We also have Shatta Boy.
Yeah man.
Yule
mudia ngara. Formation do hiyo.
You go item.
You better know.
You go fresh.
Yeah man.
Ready for the team.
Mash up the place.
And we have CJ. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, you're good, eh?
Yes, I'm good.
Why are you asking like you're doubting?
No, CJ has had a very long weekend. His team, I don't know what's happening, but it's okay. Yote chini ya mwamba.
Hey, look, man, we've been there before, came up again, so we will.
So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Well, today we're talking about a very interesting topic. As always, every week it's interesting. It's all about the boy child. Kama kuna mtu amelilia boy child kwa show ni Shatta Boy. So I expect that,
yeah, man.
that today, today he'll be very vocal. And basically we're just asking, do you think the boy child is an endangered species? Do you think the boy child is an endangered species? We are just almost a month after Valentine's. We talked about a lot of things. We've talked about here how you know, the men can't open up, etc. But I want to go to the root of it, and I think it's basically the upbringing. So we'll start with you, Shatta, Leo, because you know a matter close to your heart.
Yeah,
why do you think the boy child is endangered?
First of all, kabla hata tuende hapo, inafaa kuwa rallying call ya every boy child. Ukiamka asubuhi, unajiangalia kwa kioo, unajiambia mimi ni boy child. I am an endangered species. I need to operate like that.
You're saying negative affirmation.
Unaona? We, kuna kujiprotect na hiyo negative affirmation yenyu. Unaona, that is why we are endangered, because when we protect ourselves, you say is a negative affirmation. You need to understand who you are for you to protect yourself.
Why are you endangered?
Because society, acha nikwambie kitu by the way. Kiukweli tu, while society at some point to go to a point where it made a boy child a criminal. And at a girl child akigrow alikuwa anaambiwa you don't need a man. There are careless statements that were going around that you don't need a man, you can be who you are.
It was not put in context.
Yes. So but by that is hata scientists wakaanza kusema it will get to a point where watakuwa wanatengeneza watoto kwa labs. Do you remember? Yani rendering a man useless. Unaelewa? And these things were being thrown up everywhere. It got to a point where people thought actually we can get rid of a man. Na society kaanza kuact at that. Even laws that are put in place are laws that do not protect the boy child. You get? Everything, actually everything right now is against the boy child. For example, ata Maraga, former CJ aliongeleaga, if two underage kids were to get involved in maybe a relationship and they went to court, the boy would be sentenced and taken to jail. You get? And he's underage, just like the girl child. Meaning society has crafted ways to criminalize a boy child day in, day out, and no one has spoken about it. Ndio maana mimi naiongeleaga sana because I see it happening and it affects me daily. You know? Yeah man.
And since
At one point nimekufia. Kwanza ukisema umeaffectiwa and it's personal. Pole sana. But I think life in general is hard for everybody.
Okay.
It is. I mean, it's not easy whether you're a man, whether you're a woman. But I feel like the minute we started vocalizing girl child issues more, somewhere along the way, the boy child was forgotten, which is true. So we're here, we're empowering the girl, you can do this, you can do, because, you know, for the longest time, the girl child was the most disadvantaged, you know. Then in the process, we forgot the boy, and also we forgot how to train this boy to deal with this girl that we're really, really empowering. So, I mean, everybody is an endangered species as long as you're living. The minute you wake up and start breathing, you're endangered. But we forgot the boy child along the way. Mashida ziko kila mahali kwa wanawake na kwa wanaume. Yeah.
DNG.
Willis.
Yes, do you think that, as Shatta is saying, that it's harder for the boy child in 2021?
I think it's been hard for us since maendeleo ya wanawake. That is what happened. You know, in the 90s, there was this movement that, just as Nonsinzia said, it gave women strength, it gave women power, it championed for their progression. And what happened is that we over-empowered the girl child because, you know, she had been historically disempowered. And what we ended up doing is forgetting about this boy child. So the boy child today is disenfranchised. So we have, you know, totally empowered women who are strong, who are vocal, who are active, who are going for their goals, who are smashing their deliverables. On the flip side, we have the guy who is hustling, who is being given that wheelbarrow. You understand? Sad place that we're in today.
All right, and CJ, what do you think about the general discourse so far?
DNG, the maendeleo ya wanawake was more in the 80s than in the 90s.
So our troubles go way back.
Yeah, because if you remember the famous, to some people infamous, Beijing conference was 1985, where a lot of things then came out from. That is way back in 1985. And of course, at that particular point, maendeleo ya wanawake was mostly used as a political tool, because there were more women voters. It was easier to marshal the women voters. It was easier to move them. I mean, even in marketing, you'd easily target the women more. It's easier to sell to women than to sell to men. If you want to sell, if you want to sell anything, and out of your 10, 7 are men, the chances of selling, unless you're doing something with toys and something, the chances of selling are very low. So it's easier to mobilize women. So I think that there was also a political angle to it, where they were taking advantage, that particular point, Moi was also trying to take advantage of mobilizing the women. So the intention may not have been absolutely about their empowerment, but then the thing picked a life of its own. Yet again, the flip side to it, Willis, is when we talk about the empowerment of the girl child, what exactly did we empower? These women now, they have money, they have jobs, but most of them are socially broken. They can't keep relationships. They're always frustrated. We have higher rates right now. You know, there are probably more single mothers today. There are probably more people who have been in 1 or 2, 3 relationships. There are probably more women today who have 3 or 4 different baby daddies today because they couldn't stay in one relationship. So what exactly did we empower? We only empowered them academically and economically. Then there's a front that was not.
But we forgot. So many things you can pick up from there, but because you jumped fast.
Yeah, said money will never leave you alone. Money and your career will never leave you alone.
Well, you could get fired, you could get broke, but you could, like Nigeria, burn down the whole Ministry of Finance. Everything is possible.
Yeah.
So, is it then, because I've seen this discussion in different places, and first of all, let me just remind the viewers that this is our question of the day, in case you want to join into the conversation. Do you think the boy child is endangered, is an endangered species? There it is. Do you think the boy child is the boy child an endangered species? You can SMS us on 22422. You can use the hashtag Daybreak. Make sure to also tag at Citizen TV Kenya. We're going to sample some of your comments that will help us in the discussion as well. So there it is, SMS 22422, and use the hashtag Daybreak. I've seen it nonsense. People are saying that, as CJ said, that the girl child was empowered. Then the boy child became lazy. Do you think that's true?
Wow, that's no. I mean,
Did I say
think.
that?
No, I'm saying I've seen it in discussions. You didn't say that.
Yeah. I think laziness is, it's a character thing. It's because there are women who are lazy. There are women who depend on handouts and whatever to live. So I think laziness is neither here or there. It's the men who are really, really, really hardworking, and they go out there, they do whatever they do to provide for their families. So I don't think so. I don't think it made the boy child lazy. Laziness is it's personal. It's personal. The people who are just there, I mean, they don't have motivation, nothing. Yeah, so
It's just water.
yeah, they just
like
live
water.
because we've woken up.
All right. Danger, I want to ask you a controversial question. Is it hard to be a man?
Yes.
In today's age, it's extremely difficult, man. As Shutterboy said in the beginning, as a guy, you just, from when you're born, everything is against you. Any the odds are against you. Like how in America, as a black person, it's a systemic racism problem. So in Kenya, it's the same, but now from a gender perspective. So what's happening is that the girl child has so many opportunities, and that's why they are winning, man. They are our bosses, they are our clients, they are making that chums, as you have rightfully said, or CJ has rightfully said. There's a social aspect missing. That's why you find these very rich women. They have gone through divorce, 1, 2, 3 baby daddies. They're in the bar. Some of them are functional alcoholics. They may have money, but they are not at peace. Sasa mwanaume on the flip side, that man is not there. So you see another problem.
We also need to be shown where this money is.
They cannot see eye to eye. They cannot engage. It's like you're trying to date intra-classes. Challenge sana. So it's absolutely impossible. And then when you see the kind of solutions that government and leadership are coming up with, things like a wheelbarrow, with speakers in Tani, you cannot compare that kind of empowerment, of course, which is targeted predominantly at the boy child, the hustler, vis-a-vis the kind of empowerment that the girl child has been given. Girl childs have been given scholarships, opportunities to do internships. Chali leo jaribu uingie internship pale. Hata internship ni noma na ilipiwi,
And we just have to say as a caveat before the people who I know are keyboard warriors jump on the thing, we are not saying it is bad for the girl child to be empowered. We are just saying hata boy child pia apewe nafasi yake. So you get your tunes, boo boo. Get your money, baby girl for life. It's okay. Ni sawa. Sawa. Musitukujie. Pia mkitaka kuja pia ni sawa. Hatuogopi. Anyway,
Ngileta zogo tunazozana.
it's okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But Shatta,
Yes.
the same thing the engineer said, and you say that the boy child has come from disadvantage. One of the things that you've also said so many times on this show is upbringing. CJ has mentioned the fact about single parenthood. Do you think does it have a sort of effect on the upbringing of a boy child? If you're a single parent and you're bringing up a boy, a single female parent, that is.
Before tuende hapo, kuna kitu DNG amesema,
Yes.
sheria zenye zina come up na hizi system.
The government,
na government
resolutions.
ideologies, you get. For example, affirmative action,
Right.
iliyekagwa ya madem, ya maybe kwenda campus, si ndio? Wale wanaotoka areas zenye ziko disadvantaged, unapata grade yao iko chini kidogo, si ndio? So my question is, huko hakunanga vijana hiyo area? Si kuna vijana pia wako disadvantaged? Mbona grade yao iko same na hiyo? Unaelewa? Kuna vitu zinawekwa at the expense of a boy child. Unaelewa? And people will think, madam huko wenyewe wako disadvantaged. Pia kijana wako disadvantaged huko. But no one is talking about him. Anyway, back to you.
Back to me in studio.
Unajua hiyo kitu umesema bringing ya unapata mostly unalelewa na single parent. Most of the dads are not around because one reason or the other. Mostly wengine mtu alikuwa tu irresponsible ama mwingine alishindwa kukop up na demands zenye anapatiwa, maybe hana do. Hatujaona effect bado. The effect is coming. It will get to a point in this country where having a male boss will be a problem because people will be used to authority coming from one side. Unaget kama mtoi umegrow home, authority comes from mom alone because dad is not there, ama dad is there and he has no authority over you. Unaelewa? You get to an office and a man wants to give you to have authority over you, you will not listen to this man. Unaelewa? There will come a time like that. But sasa when it comes to upbringing, what do we do? Hivyo ndio tuko. Tushafika point that girl child ameambiwa.
Nyinyi na nani?
Girl child anajua anaweza lea mtoi bila chali. Na actually ilikuwa ni fashion that empowered girl child ataget mtoi na amlee peke yake. Kuna instance kama people have chose like sio at any circumstance ya chali aliondokea or anything. I don't want a man in my life. I just wanted his kid. So you've seen such cases. We've had hata kwa happy hour, we've had people come and say that. You know, get. So
Happy Hour is a show, by the way, not when we went out. It's a show on Hot 96. Yeah.
Ni society imeshafika hapo ikaonyesha girl child. Ndio nilikuwa nakwambia girl child has been shown ishi bila mwanaume. Why would you let someone have authority over you yet you can do everything? You see? But by so doing, like in a relationship, when you're boyfriend and girlfriend and a child comes on board, it is no longer a boy-girl thing now. Because there are children that need to have both authorities around. But no one is saying that. You know, there is what the mother can give that the father cannot. And there is what the father can give that the mother cannot give, you see. But hapa Kenya tuambiani hivyo.
Picking up on that, CJ, what is the danger? And again, if people have found themselves in that situation, it's okay, you know, and if you're responsible if you're a deadbeat daddy, go home today. Let it be. If you're looking for a sign, let today be a sign. Go back and take care of your child. But what is the danger of the absence of a father figure?
Okay, so let me do what Shatta did. So before I get to that,
Before you come back to studio.
yeah, to be fair as well, the affirmative action, mostly targeting those marginalized communities. I think mostly it was also because the girl child would easily be traded for marriage. So it was also to encourage the parents, like, take your kids to school. Because some of the fathers and families were looking at their girls as investments. So I think it was also to encourage them, like, okay, take your girl to school. Of course, that came with its own issues as well. But when you talk about what is the effect of the absence of a father, the first thing that the kid then lacks is a sense of identity. Is a sense of identity. You know, we talk about women say they can raise children without the fathers of those children. But we had a trending story the other day of somebody wanting the father to claim the child, just to tell you how much of a facade that thing is. That's true. That is just to show you how much of a facade that thing is. The deep inside. Well, I know that even where, you know, people have had disagreements like, I'll pay you so that you sire my child, then we just part ways. You'll still find somewhere along the line, they still want this kid to know their father. Sometimes that is just a defense mechanism of somebody who thinks, I can't get that, so let me act like I don't want it. They're not sure that they will get it. It's managing expectations. But if you were to ask them really, they would want the man to be there. But the first thing that the child lacks is their identity. Then they never get to know their sense of esteem, because then they keep on wondering, who am I? Your father is your root. You know, your father is your root. It's your lineage. That thing made Obama come all the way to Kenya trying to find out who is he. You want to find out who you are. That's your root. And you cannot define yourself from where you are now. Anytime you're trying to find yourself, you've got to go back. You see, life is understood backwards. So if there is no father, this child will struggle with a sense of identity. Then they will struggle with what Shatta said, which is a sense of authority. How do you deal with authority? Because generally, a father is supposed to be the figure of government. That doesn't mean he needs to be a dictator, but that's the person who should bring in some sense of firmness, some sense of order, some sense of purpose into the children that they have. Anytime women have to discipline their children, they're overwhelmed. And so they will either go overboard, they'll be too soft or too hard. It is very easy for a mother to hurt a child. Unless the father is deranged, because he's a bit more balanced to handle discipline issues. For a mother, she will either over-mother the child, or when the pressure is too much, she will release all this pressure on the child. That's true even for female bosses. They're either too soft or too hard. They generally are not in the middle. They get emotionally involved in everything that they're doing. I like how Nonsense is looking at me. So they will have the issue with identity. They'll have the issue with authority. If it is a girl, then she will most probably struggle again with affection. She may generally begin to look for a father in her lover. If it is a boy, he will struggle with how to become a man in somebody else's life because he doesn't have the model, he doesn't have the pattern.
He doesn't have the pattern or model. So in such a situation then, when tumejipata hapo, as Shata said, sasa wako hapo. Hapo, wamejipata kwa single ni nilo, already dunia ndo hiyo, tuko na wheelbarrow, kazi kwa vijana, hatusongi mbele. DNG, what do you think, if somebody is watching today and they're in such a situation, right, boy child saya na anaangalia, before you even get to the feedback, what do you think there can be done? You're already at a disadvantage, so what do you do?
You know, for me, this story is hitting home straight because also, you can put me in that category, Bana. Me, I met my father in my adulthood, and I met him once.
Wow.
And that was the last time I saw him. But you know what? We cannot blame our parents because today me, I'm a parent. And sometimes, you know, when you're growing up, unalalamika, unakas mzee, why is my dad not here, nini? But then when you go through relationships, you sometimes understand, oh, labda walikosana, labda kulikuwa mse mmoja mtiaji, nini, unajua? In fact, for me, I hold no grudges. Yani, ilisha, na, you know, there's healing. So now, how do we deal with that? And even before how to deal with it, we also have to acknowledge that there are some consequences. You know, things like lack of authority, as has been said today, they lead to bad behavior. Unakuwa mrui. That means that you do not have any form of guidance. So you're trying to be a man, and you know, how do you learn to be a man? Through your peers, through the older boys in society. So you emulate and you ape what they're doing, and sometimes not the right things. So those are the habits you pick up, and later on, you know, you have to struggle to let go of this kind of habits that you trained your mind. So today we just need to realize that we're on our own. Once we realize that nobody's coming to save us, not the government, not our leaders, nobody, then that means that we have to take that cross and carry it. So what I'd suggest today is that we need to be the men that we needed when we were growing up. That's not the kind of men that we need to be today. We need to create what we call like a boy club, national, where if you find a guy who needs some mentorship, some advice, some guidance, some help them. Sometimes it doesn't cost you anything, man. It's just to point somebody in the right direction. Like for us in media, you know, it's somebody who wants their song played. What does it cost you to connect that person to a producer of a show or to a DJ to get their song played? An artist who's struggling, what does it cost you to connect them to an event manager or promoter? Absolutely nothing. So we need to be better men. Instead of pointing fingers from today henceforth, let's be proactive. Let's have more of these forums, even physical, even across the country in different counties. Let's do town halls, just for dudes, man. And we talk about biashara, the grind, how we can connect, how we can network, how we can, you know, support each other's business. Let's look at a talent pool, who can do what, and we employ each other. We make each other suppliers of goods and services, and that means we progress.
All right. That's some deep stuff.
Amefunga show DNG.
Amefunga
show.
Sunday, some feedback. Hey, kuna moja hapo naona ni refu. All right, let's take a look at some of the feedback there. Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to say mix. 3, 2, 1, mix. Anyway, it's loading. There it is. It's going to take some time. There it goes. As slow as, you know, the government. Okay. That is Barnabas Mweu. Niweke 24. Barnabas Mweu anasema, yes, the boy child is endangered. The boy child is torn between culture and civilization. It's hard to grow in a society that tells you you're equal to your sister, but again says ladies first in some certain situations. All right, very interesting. Here comes another slowly but surely. We will get there. This is Pastor. I hope PST should be Pastor, right? All right, Pastor Waroi. It is true, although the girl child empowerment programs were well intended due to the vulnerability of the girl, they lacked a balance, which is what needs to be brought in now. Mentorship and empowerment must now be done when the boys are very young, sort of what they call the formative years, kwenda mbele. Once again, hiyo inakuja slowly but surely. This is Moto Beatbox says this. Our young men aren't socially educated on the fundamental laws of nurturing and understanding the masculine energy. We have to portray masculinity by being sexually powerful, by control of our urges, so to activate and nurture the masculine power. Men should stop giving up their life force anyhow, other than procreation. Otherwise, the feminine energy is only challenging the masculine energy. I think this is the concept where, they say when you're having sex with somebody, soul ties, exchange of energies, etc. I guess that's what he's trying to say as well. Ya kwamba mwanaume kazi tu ni it's morning. But kazi tu ni kuginene. Yeah, function at the junction na unasahau vitu zingine. Shutterboy, you mentioned something that I want to go back to because DNG said we need to be the men we needed to be growing up. But you mentioned something that when it comes to employment, there's sort of a balance. Yesterday, I saw very interesting quotes. Many people said this. They said instead of organizations, instead of wishing your women Happy International Women's Day, how about you give us equal pay? Right? That's what the women were saying yesterday. And what do you think, from where you sit, you think there's a disparity in terms of employment? DNG has also mentioned it, kwa intern, tunanga ma girl child sana sana, instead of ma boy child. Wewe unaonaje in the employment sector?
Well, mimi nafanya kazi tuko equal. Wale sisi tunafanya kazi hakuna hiyo ngori. I think tunahoga tu unabebangwa kulingana vile umejibeba. Sio because wewe ni boy or wewe ni dem. It's vile umejipresent. Ndio. Maybe in other industries that is happening, that sijui. Maybe art industry you would pay a male artist more than
a female
artist.
DJ.
It happens.
DJ, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah, no, since you will tell us her experience, she's a publicist.
Yes.
Lazima anajua, si ndio?
Yes.
Yeah, na wata feel dem aje struggle sana kwa hiyo light. Yani it's misgivings. They will think because this is uchalia struggle sana, they will want to pay more, perform. Hizo zinahapenigi, which ni vitu mbaya. Unaelewa? But hata before tuende kwa pay, do you know the biggest problem we have right now is that we don't know who we are. There's a day tukiwa kwa 10, I said the worst thing you can ever do to someone is to steal their identity. You rob them of their identity and umweke hapo. They won't know who they are. They will go grabbing everything around them, trying to know who they are. You see, Africa, especially Kenya, because Kenya absorbs every culture that comes our way. When the Nigerians come here, we absorb
Afrobeat, South Africa,
when Congolese come here, when
Congolese,
South Africa come,
Balingala.
you see, but so do
Chinese, we take their money.
Exactly.
Why is he not mentioning Jamaican?
Oh yeah.
When Jamaicans get here.
No, Jamaica,
But Jamaicans are
African roots.
Yeah,
From
man.
Mau Mau.
Yes.
Before.
He mentioned Nigeria.
No, even in terms of music, reggae is so huge.
Reggae is huge, that's right.
No, I'm just teasing him because he's protecting himself.
But that is it. We
I'm a bad man.
we absorb external culture so much that we don't know our culture. You see, there is one thing with enlightening me to the world and Europeanizing me. See, those are two different things. In Kenya, we need to realize that we are being Europeanized or Westernized, forgetting who we are. We need to teach our children who we are as Kenyans. What is our culture? How do things work? What can we borrow? You see, when the colonizer came, he criminalized your culture. You see, and it is upon the people in power to acknowledge that your culture was criminalized and decriminalize it. You see, for you to be able to teach it to children, so that when they grow, they have a sense of identity. Young people you see today are Africans by the virtue of being in this continent, but their culture and their brains, ni wazungu. You get, because they will go to TikTok, they will go to all these social media platforms and get the culture over there and become those people. We need to tell our people who we are. We need, first of all, sisi nye tunajua hiyo kitu ilifanyika, to know there are good things about our culture and bad things.
Yeah.
There are bad things that we need to drop and pick the good ones and impact them on these children so that when they grow, wasipitie kenye sisi tunapitia sahi. Unaelewa? That is the biggest challenge we have. If we do those town halls meetings, DMG has said,
Yes.
my friend, tutapigwa, tutavurugwa kwa mtandao, because when you try to do something good, because vile CJ alisema tukianza, this thing was not by mistake, this was a plan. Why? The politicians wanted to harness the female votes, you see, and it is working for them. So the moment you start telling the boy child you need to be like this, now you're attacking people. You know that? You're attacking a voter base ya watu, and they will fight you for it. You need to be alive to that fact, that anything you want to do right now to change a boy child's mentality or the society's mentality, you are attacking someone else. Because someone is harvesting from from this, what is happening. You get? And the moment you try to change it, unaharibu shamba yao. And they will fight you for it. Una get? So it needs people to be sober. And I keep saying, even in our schools, culture must be a lesson. It needs to be taught. Culture, for us to understand who we are. Yeah,
So it's all an identity problem. You are making some points.
When Shatta was talking about culture and knowing your culture, and I like the fact that he mentioned that some things are good and some things are bad. Because there's some things that I've really struggled with, and I'm like, what the hell is this, you know? So it's good, and it's good to learn, because it's good to know your identity, where you came from, and I mean, it's very advisable, but again, I think we need to do it with caution, because there are some things that were done in our culture that you look at them and you're like, no, these ones, tuende tu tukiendanga. Let's talk about the equal...
Yes, because every time we host even female DJs, when I ask them, how has it been in the industry, they're saying, hey, they always sigh. You can see in their face the struggles that
now
they're going
we're
through.
empowered, then we are here, we are out there, we are going, we are working, you know, you're going all out. And this is where I go back and say the challenges of a woman are very different. For example, for the artist, let's give an example with maybe Shatta. You're an artist. Shatta akuja hapa, yeye ako hivi, ata perform. No, even now, the way we are right now, you had to come here 30 minutes before, because I have to, you know, I have to look, you know, all, and you see, society doesn't put those pressure on men. Actually, I've seen situations where a man comes not 2 minutes the performance, but a few minutes, goes on stage, does a killer performance. For a woman, it's a whole production. Even the videos and everything, and also we've been trying to remove this idea of women looking a certain way. This is, you know, so you'll perform, the backlash that will come with that, it is so much, and considering you've not even been paid equally to your male counterparts, and you put
this is regardless of your...
Whether you're big or not, you could be, me and Shatta could be having the same, you know, the same music, we're on rotation, the same, but when it's going to negotiation, it's an uphill task. I was watching just Ivy's stories on money and how there were women weak negotiators, or, you know, then I was seeing comments of employers who ask you, so why do you need much money? And you will be married at the end of it all. And you have a husband. I'm like, hey.
So for some, marriage is an occupation.
Exactly. I'm like, pulo. You know, so we are not yet there, as much as we are being empowered and all that. And that's why we are talking about women, to know your value and the value that you bring to the table. If I can equally deliver what Shatta and Willis are delivering, why should I not be?
So there's a disparity in that.
There is a disparity.
But what about when it comes to, like, sometimes even hiring for certain jobs? There's a time where CJ mentioned the fact that
women
take jobs that men would be waiting in the sidelines, you know, before they embrace so what do you think? Isn't there a flip side to what Nancy has said on the men's side?
Well, generally, you know, girls are raised with a sense of responsibility from very early. Boys will be waking up, and most probably they'll go out and play, because the parents don't know how to keep the boys in the house. You know, there's this saying, boys will always be boys.
Yeah.
So you don't want to keep that energy in the house. So you prefer, let them go out and play. Then you probably call them when you need them or something. So these boys are actually growing with other boys. The girl wakes up and she knows, when you wake up, make your bed, make sure you clean the room, you do this. So there's a very structured
go and make tea for the family.
mentorship.
Yeah.
The sense of responsibility is put in her early, not in the boys. That's why even when people have cases of joblessness, you most probably will find guys hanging out by the street. It will be boys who are sitting at the
That's
base. Even if the girls are jobless, they'll probably be
Keeping
occupied in the
themselves busy,
house.
yeah.
So you won't find them in those groups over there because there's a sense that they have of responsibility. Sometimes that works against them. Sometimes, because when she goes into this marketplace, because she thinks of the sense of responsibility, she will feel like, let me take this,
Whatever comes,
then
yeah.
stay without. Sometimes she's thinking of her mother, a sibling or something. So she feels like, let me earn this 15,000 per month because I want to support on the other side. For the guy, you know, he has had all these dreams. When they sit out of there, he's got all these dreams of the kind of life he wants to live in it. But nobody has nurtured that boy over things like responsibilities. So he's growing up with this mirage as well. And then he feels, if I have money, I'll be able to do 1, 2, 3. He has not even learned the basics of how to use the basic resources like time, networks, the little money that he has. So if you bring him in and tell him, I want to pay you 15,000, he feels that's not enough because he has never known that you can actually use that 15,000. So sometimes, again, the pressure is not really from what you would call the society. It's how the woman is built. You know, this sense of responsibility that she has. Like, why should I stay home? Maybe my 15,000 will help medicate my mom. Just be buying medicine. And she will carry that even into marriage. This is where you have issues in marriage of my wife's money goes to her parents and mine. There's that sense of responsibility that was drilled. Part of what we need to do with the young men as well is to begin to teach them responsibility. Like, work for your pocket money. Do this, then I'll pay you this. Don't just be giving. That's a whole thing with single mothers as well that I would love to address. You know, sometimes they want to give the boys everything that they feel the boy needs just to prove a point to the absent dad or something. Teach them how to work to earn their money. Teach them how to run their resources so that when they become adults, they can actually manage and multiply the much that they receive.
All right, we have some more feedback here before we jump to DNG. Duana 56, shouting about gender equality once a year doesn't end the patriarchal and misogynic stereotypes. We must live every day as Women's Day. Only then will there be actual practical equality in the world. Wagwan. Victor _Ngongo 93. The world is losing boys and men every day. Too much expectation from the hashtag boychild KE. Yet no one pays attention to how they grow. Everything has been channeled to the girl child. This trend is killing the population of men. Soon it will be a requirement to marry, to marry 2 or more women. Right, man. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Tulipe deni ya China, hizi vitu zienda haraka kidogo. Fiz Morris says the boy child is not a victim of historical injustices and has always enjoyed the fruits of patriarchy. It's well settled that forever it's a man's world, and that already puts the boy child ahead. To me, I think the boy child is just asleep and should be awoken.
Wake up.
Shata kona jibu yako.
It's
And
patriarchal.
I think this is the last one, or you'll tell me if there's another one. Barnabas Moyo says the boy child is suffering from identity crisis, which for me is the main recipe for stress and depression. The boy child is not sure whether to be a traditional male alpha or a modern man who cooks and changes nappies. Ladies, change the narrative, please.
But what is wrong with changing nappies?
Nothing at all. I've changed a lot of my
You can still be
nephews-
traditional and
a lot
change
of my
nappies.
nephews, nappies and golden shower notwithstanding. It's all good. DNG before Shata Jibu Huyo. As you can see from the comments, it's mixed. It's a mixed pile, right? Because there's someone saying that the society is it's still a man's world. And then there's someone saying that peer men to go confused. Do we be traditional, hunter-gatherer, my way or the highway, or do I be cook in the kitchen, change nappies? How do you think we can find a balance?
I like what one of the viewers said, that the boy child is asleep and the boy child needs to be, woken up.
Yeah.
For me, that's why I do this initiative called House Yako. It's pretty much just about mind change. And that's what we're doing on this show right now. Having conversations that trigger people to think about, why am I in this position where I don't have a job? Why am I in this position where I cannot afford to pay rent? My pals are endeling in life, but for me, I'm still struggling. Instead of, apportioning blame to whatever it may be, I think we also need to talk about what does it mean to hustle? What does it mean to really grind? And that's the example that has been given, that, women are financially disciplined. Like when they make the little they make, they plow it back, they save. Yeah, man.
Everywhere.
Na chani leo akiangukia 10 Gs, 20 Gs, niku buy
nikutafuta
mayengs, kiroro, niku buy njumu, Luke Willis. Luke msana invest yote, ako na zero bob kwa olenje, lakini Luke juu chini amengaraka 20 Gs. You know what I mean? You ni ujinga. So if we do not have these conversations with our peers, because this is not about historical challenges anymore, it's about sai. Watu wana spend do, wana chop do yote, kesho hawana do, kesho wanalilia kwenye TV ati wasaidiwe. Hiyo ni ujinga. Tuache hiyo tabia mbaya, hiyo ni bad manners, and we need to be the voice of reason amongst our peers, bana. Alafu kuna kitu kingine, wamesema ati because it is cultural, and also Shadabu I talked about that ati hizi vitu ni ngori. Let us not be afraid to disrupt any voter basket. We all know that poverty is a tool of control. We must disrupt it in the minds of these people, so that they no longer are just sitting in the estates, Nikobez, unakula jaba the whole day, na una form. Hiyo ni nini?
That's true.
True that.
Yeah.
Shatter.
Yeah, man.
You wanted to respond to you waking up of the boy child.
Yes. Kuna jamaa amesema boy child na patriarchy hapo. People need to understand that hiki kitu itaga patriarchy is not an advantage to a boy child. You see, kuna advantages and disadvantages. As a boy child, you are never given time by this society to think about you. Start, anza sahi. Umesoma, umaliza shule, si ndio? Umaliza shule, you get a job. Society starts pressuring you to get married immediately because you are a failure if you're not getting married, si ndio? The moment you get married, whom are you thinking about now? Is it you? Now you're thinking about your wife and your children. And you will think about them until watu you afike age wametoka kwako, maybe wako 24, 22 university, si ndio? Are you a boy child anymore at that moment? Maybe ulioa ukiwa 25. It's 25 years later, you are 50 years old. Okay? Will you start thinking about you at the age of 50? You can't. Life has gone. Life imekupita. But life imekupita in 50 years, haujawahi jifikiria. You have been every day you are given something. For you to be successful, you must have a car. You see, hasa you won't think about enjoying your success. Let me get this car first. Unaelewa? Or get a wife, get children, take them to school, wapeleke abroad. No point utakaa chini ujiambia sasa mimi as Willis, I need to first of all figure out who I am and enjoy me. Unaelewa? That is something that needs also to be told to the boy child. As you do all these things, remember who you are. Get time to be you, and it is okay to enjoy you, but responsibly. Unaelewa? That is one key factor that people need to appreciate first of all as a boy child. Na hii patriarchy ni ukweli inakuaga ina favor boy child, but pia it is a tool against the boy child. Unaget? Hiyo kitu DNG amesema ya kudisrupt mentality ya watu. Yes, we need to do it, and we are doing it, and we will keep doing it until people understand what we are talking about. You see, we are not saying to favor the boy child over the girl child. We're just saying, for example, to being the devil's advocate again in this one, kuna kazi predominant before or a while back, there are jobs that were predominantly set out for men, kama kazi ya mjengo, kazi ya umakanga, udereva, unaget hata ma-engineer wengi, they used to be men, you get, but that one has been broken down now. It is okay ukiingia kwa matatu ulipishwe na a girl child, you will be upate dereva. Kuna hata sacos naandika madem pekee as drivers, you get. So vitu zilikuwa predominantly kept for men, size ziko open, but kuna vitu na sio, unajua sio lazima tuongelee wala watu wameomoka sana kwa society. Kuna jobs ziko huku chini ndogo ndogo, for example being a house help. Siku hizo wanaitwa house managers.
Yeah, they manage
Ni
the
mara
house.
ngapi umeona kwa news a boy child anaembarasiwa, he had to pretend to be a girl ndo aandikwe kwa nyumba ya mtu kama mbochi, kama house help. You've seen it severally. It happens. Then that is the problem. Also, if a boy child is okay with being a house help, he needs to be let to be that. Kama anafeel mimi naweza ku house help kwa hii nyumba, let the boy child be. Let him go do that job. He does not have to pretend to be a lady to be given the job. You see, those are the things that we need to break down. And the reason as to why we need to break them, it goes back to emotions. It goes back to where we've hardened a boy child and telling him to ignore his emotions. So when you appear to be doing some jobs, you appear to be an emotional being. And that appears to be something bad. You see? You must first of all tell that boy child that being emotional is okay. And dealing with your emotions is also okay. That way we solve two problems. Ya kufanya hizo kazi, and number two, we solve depression na stress iko na boy child around sahi.
On the flip side to your argument, umesema for the males,
Yeah.
akishafika 50, anasema ni sawa, you know, life is over. But on the other side, a male who is 50 can easily remarry. A female who is 50
Hey.
may not
Hiyo
find
ni uongo mnakuwaga nayo. Hiyo ni uongo.
ni ukweli.
Hiyo ni uongo. When you are remarrying, what have you lost? You know that thing, there's the day it was said and I did not
Lost
respond
what?
to it. That thing that say, man,
I
it
said
is
it.
easy for a man.
Don't even say it was said.
It was said by
said
CJ
I
that,
said it 'cause-
that it is okay for it is easy for a man to remarry.
It is.
But when you are remarrying, what have you lost? You have lost everything.
But
your wife
but
has
you
gone
can.
with your children.
You have lost everything.
Now you're
but
going
you
to start
can remarry.
afresh.
The option is available.
Yo,
But for
the
a
wife does
female-
not need to remarry. She
Why?
already has your children. She's gone with
see,
your children.
What do you
see.
mean?
She's
She
gone with
has-
your
she
children.
has-
Shut up.
Die alone where?
She has
You
leave.
want my children.
You see,
My children and see. My friend, your point by the way, niambie kitu.
shut up.
You
Shut
see
up.
that point that tukiachana na dem anaenda na watoi wangu.
Shut
I
up.
will remarry because I need children.
No, but you
But
can
the
get
children are
custody of the
still
children.
yours.
That custody is hata unajua before that child gets to 18 years, my friend,
Willis,
that law favors the lady.
You see, the whole argument is already skewed. This whole argument is already skewed. Children never take the place of a spouse.
Yeah.
So to say they've gone with the children are not the spouse. Even if you remain married, these children will grow and go.
Okay.
So these children are not
They can't-
really
you can't
part of the
substitute
Now,
equation.
can the spouse take the space of the children? If I go marry another girl, will she take my children's space?
No, but
You see, you
But you
marry.
see,
When you marry,
These people are losing. Both of us are losing. I am losing.
okay,
she's
okay.
losing.
Hold up,
So, Rastaman is peaceful. There's
yeah, man.
Poor life, yes.
But you see, this is where again people mix up all these issues.
Right.
Children will come and they will go. You know, I'm looking at my kids right now. These guys are about to leave. Eventually, you remain with your spouse. Your spouse can never take the place of the children. Your children can never take the place of the spouse. When we talk about the issue of remarrying, now you talked about somebody leaving for themselves. They do that for them, not for their children or something. They do that for them. That's the part of somebody knowing I need to have a mate. I need to have somebody who loves me. Some people have to make very difficult decisions to remarry, even after they've lost a spouse. And the challenge is whether the children will feel you betrayed their mother. Probably she passed, and you have to have a conversation with them and tell them, look, I loved your mother, but then I've got to live life. It's a whole different discussion, that thing of the remarrying. But I wanted to just say one thing, just one thing. Men need to look at responsibility as something that is joyful. It shouldn't be looked at as a burden that society has put on you. You can live for yourself and still raise children and support other people. If you have money, Willis, and money has no purpose, it loses value. If you have so much money in your pocket now, but you can't buy anything, that money is valueless. So the fact that you can help somebody, you can employ somebody, that you can support somebody, you can educate somebody, don't look at it as a burden. It doesn't rob you from life. What robs you of life is lack of purpose. If you find your purpose, you can still live for you while taking care of other people.
but purpose is not paying bills.
No.
No. If you find a purpose,
No, I'm asking.
you can.
It's
No.
maybe.
Take it.
No,
How is
you
it?
see, that's what I said, that you can still live your purpose and take care of responsibilities.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay.
You see, taking care of responsibilities does not rob you of
Because
life.
you see, most of the time you come into this world, you struggle, you hustle, you whatever. That purpose is not very easy to find at Emo. We should talk about purpose one day. It's
that.
not very easy because the nature of the struggle, and for both gender, you find yourself always in a rat race. You know, it's always meeting a bill, it's always paying this. Before you focus on, I was brought into this world to entertain people. Hey, you're 50.
Yeah,
Like
man.
the way.
Like
You're
the-
80, and you did chop life.
Your purpose is very critical, but wewe unafaa kuidiscover.
Yeah.
You get, not other people to discover it for you.
And I
See,
feel
what-
like it should be very intentional.
Yes.
It's
That's
an
what we're going to
yeah.
talk about next week. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We'll discuss with Sheshi tuone kama tunaweza ongelea next week. DNG, do you want to have a final comment? Because wewe ndio ulitupatia some girene hapo awali, mambo ya being the man we needed to be. So what's your final comment?
Yeah, so final comment has to do with unity. And I feel like as young guys in today's generation, we have to come together and be each other's anchors, you know, support system. You see that amongst women all the time. But, you know, when it comes to the guys, how united are we? Do we support each other? You know, when you look at it from a business perspective, Charlie wanapeananga tu uongo. Kipindi, maze, kuna pisi nakuja, utakuhusisha.
Deal.
Kesho, mseme zima simu. As a businessman, and I've done this for more than 12 years, man, and as an entertainer for more than 16, majority of the people who've put me in a position to win are women. So these empowered women who we are complaining about are actually the ones who throw lifelines to men. When I look at all my mega deals that I've cooled in this industry, you know, in this biashara, supplies, nini, it's a woman who sat there and believed that what I went to pitch in that boardroom, I can deliver. And she said, yes, shika LPO, do for me this event, do for me this campaign. Machali, you do a job, they don't pay you, ban. They run away. And we're tired of demand letters and lawyers. It's shameful that is where we have come to be today. But we have to change that. We have to be each other's brothers, you know, brothers keepers. So let's improve on that as an improvement point, and we can do it. And let these other women continue rising and supporting men.
All right, we're going to end there today. Time imeenda sana. But, you know, like we like to say, the purpose of this discussion is to help you to have the discussions. Well, once you go off air, continue the discussions in your living rooms, continue the discussions at your workplace, continue the discussions online. And because these discussions will, one, they'll expose the fakes, and they'll expose areas that need to be fixed, and then they'll also serve people some truth. So keep on having the discussions. But I like what DNG said earlier on, that as much as we are disadvantaged, and there's all these things for the boy child, let us try to be the men that we needed to see. That's what he said, yeah? And the men that we needed, that we, as growing up, we needed to see them. You might be in a bad situation today, but it's not the end of the world. Like I always say, every problem has an expiry date, but you have to decide. The first thing you need to do to make a change is decide to change. And then from there, let's have the unity and move forward. Tukifanya hivyo, tutakuwa mbele sana. Hata patriarchy itazidi huko kwa matululu na kwa fofofo. But other than that, remember, successful people look like you, and the great, Devi ako huko juu. Sisemi, you know my common phrase, you know me, peace and love.